Headlines suggest the era of unchecked digital addiction is over, yet these public hearings and high-profile lawsuits provide the legal framework to weaponize the behavior they claim to fight. To understand the situation we are in today, we have to look back to 2007. The launch of the first Apple iPhone placed the internet in our pockets and immediately began rewiring human behavior. The promise was a hyper-connected society. The reality is that we trade sleep for screen time. We spend our days walking through crowds, staring down at our palms. The statistical result is historic highs in extreme loneliness and relational violence. This modern isolation stems from a calculated biological rewiring of our neurology. The current political maneuvering around big tech relies on a specific biological vulnerability. To see it, we have to look inside the human skull and see exactly how those neurological circuits were broken. Let us clear something up right away. The popular idea that you receive a sudden dopamine hit from a new smartphone notification is actually a biological myth. This chart shows your brain's dopamine baseline. Your body maintains a steady, circulating level of dopamine to keep you motivated. When you experience unnatural spikes from rapid-fire scrolling, you deplete the brain's readily releasable pool of dopamine. What follows is a steep, punishing crash. Notice how these subsequent spikes get progressively smaller over time, while the baseline trends steadily downward into this shaded depression zone. The user feels numb and exhausted. They scroll simply to stave off the negative feelings of that depleted baseline. These platforms deliver the opposite of happiness. They systematically starve your brain of its natural motivation to engage with the real world. A crashed dopamine system explains the internal depression, but we have to ask why internet interactions inherently breed such aggressive, toxic behavior toward others. The answer is the virtual disengagement hypothesis. Empathy requires physical social cues to activate: facial expressions, body language, and vocal tone. When you strip all that away and reduce a human being to text on a screen, the brain's empathy circuitry fails to turn on. This diagram shows a cross-section of the human brain, specifically highlighting the anterior cingulate gyrus, the area responsible for empathy. In heavy screen users, this region physically shrinks. The brain prunes away the tissue because it is no longer being used. Combining a depressed dopamine baseline with a shriveled empathy center creates a devastating spike in relational violence. We see the results of this in data like the 300% increase in suicide among teen girls. By optimizing for constant engagement, these platforms effectively prune away the neural hardware required for face-to-face empathy. The biological damage is now completely undeniable. We have now reached a critical societal breaking point, and the public is desperately screaming for a cure. Legislative responses are now arriving on cue. New Mexico is suing Meta, Los Angeles is hosting a landmark addiction trial, and Congress is pushing the Kids Online Safety Act. While the era of corporate accountability appears to have finally arrived, these solutions actually function as a Trojan horse for a different agenda. Take the New Mexico lawsuit against Meta. To build the case, the state's attorney general set up decoy accounts using stolen photos of real children to entrap predators. Instead of reporting the predators to protect those kids, they deleted the evidence so they could sue Mark Zuckerberg. When you examine bills like the Kids Online Safety Act, the objective is to implement mandatory age verification laws across the internet, effectively destroying online anonymity for everyone. This requirement for mandatory age verification actively benefits big tech monopolies. It requires systemic data harvesting, which locks in the tech giants while burying smaller competitors under impossible legal and compliance costs. Meanwhile, special interest groups co-opt this addiction panic to forcibly censor the internet. Under the guise of child safety, they target marginalized groups, feminine content, and decentralized forums, scrubbing them from the web. This creates a closing pincer. Algorithms strip away the neural capacity for empathy, while institutions use that resulting social friction to justify dismantling the free internet. You cannot rely on the legal system to save you from this. The system directly profits from your digital paralysis. The only true cure is ruthless personal agency. That starts with a shock to your routine by deleting every social media app from your phone for just one day. A full 30-day dopamine fast physically restores your brain's neurological baseline, giving those pruned reward centers the biological time they need to rebuild. From there, you build physical friction into your daily life. Keep the phone entirely out of your line of sight while you work, and keep it out of the room when you sleep. In a world perfectly structured to divide your attention, suppress your empathy, and track your outrage, the most rebellious thing you can possibly do is simply look away.